In the quiet, unassuming village of Karthika, a man lived who was known for his unwavering dedication to his craft. He was the kind of man who kept to himself, focused solely on his work, and was respected by all who knew him. But his peaceful existence would soon be shattered by an evil force he could never have anticipated. One sweltering afternoon, as the sun began to set and the shadows grew long, a vile politician slithered into the village. His reputation for cruelty and corruption had already reached the farthest corners of the land. He came with a sinister agenda to bend the village to his will, starting with this righteous man. The politician, his smile a venomous curl, approached the man with a proposition. "Join me," he hissed, "and your life will be filled with riches beyond your wildest dreams. All you have to do is abandon your morals. Just once." The man looked the politician in the eyes, and what he saw there chilled him to his bones. But he would not be swayed. "I will not betray my principles," he said, his voice steady, but his heart pounding with dread. "Leave me be." The politician's eyes darkened, his smile vanishing like a fleeting shadow. "So be it," he whispered, his voice dripping with malice. That very night, the man's lifeless body was found, brutally murdered in his own home, his blood staining the wooden floorboards. The village mourned, but the horror was far from over. A week later, the air around the politician's mansion grew thick and heavy, an oppressive silence engulfing the place. The workers who had served the politician loyally began to fall one by one. They were found with their faces twisted in terror, their mouths frozen in silent screams, eyes wide open as if they had seen something far worse than death. The politician, now gripped by paranoia, locked himself in his grand mansion, the walls echoing with the creaks and groans of a structure too old and too full of secrets. Night after night, he would hear whispers, soft, menacing, inhuman. The temperature in his room would plummet, and the shadows seemed to twist and move on their own. Then one night, as a violent storm raged outside, the whispers grew louder, turning into guttural growls. The politician's heart raced as he bolted upright in bed, drenched in cold sweat. The air around him was freezing, and his breath came out in misty puffs. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. The politician fumbled for a light, but before he could find it, a shadowy figure emerged from the corner of the room. It was the man he had murdered, only now he was something else entirely. His skin was a sickly pale gray, and his eyes were black voids, bottomless pits that sucked in all the light from to him. His mouth twisted into a grotesque grin, revealing teeth that were far too sharp. "You thought you could silence me?" the figure rasped, its voice echoing as if coming from the depths of a tomb. The politician tried to scream, but no sound escaped his lips. His body was paralyzed, his mind teetering on the edge of madness. The ghostly figure glided closer, its eyes boring into the politician's soul. "You killed me," it whispered, the words slithering through the air like a curse. "But I am not gone. I am here, and I am hungry." With a sudden, violent motion, the ghost lunged at the politician, its cold, decayed hands wrapping around his throat. The politician's eyes bulged as he felt the life being sucked out of him, his body convulsing in sheer terror. The last thing he saw before his vision went black was the face of the ghost, inches from his own, its grin widening impossibly as it watched the life drain from his victim. The next morning, the villagers found the politician's mansion in ruins, the walls smeared with blood, and the air thick with the stench of death. His body was discovered in his bed, eyes wide open in eternal horror, his face locked in a twisted scream. No one ever spoke of the events again, but the village of Karthika was never the same. The ghost of the man was said to still haunt the ruins, waiting for anyone who dared to repeat the sins of the past. And those who crossed his path never lived to tell the tale.